Well, hello and welcome to Serving the Sire in 2 Samuel. I'm Pastor Jeremy Combs here at the Lifeford Bible Baptist Church, and we thank you for taking a few moments to join us as we study this wonderful chapter here in 2 Samuel chapter 15. 2 Samuel chapter 15 has a lot of heart into it, a lot of emotions, and we've really talked a lot about last week for 2 episodes, the rebellion of Absalom and how he stole the hearts of the people. If I were to assign a heart for Absalom, it would be this. He had a haughty heart. Okay, now Haughty is an old English word. It's the idea of a proud, a lifted up heart. And that definitively speaks of Absalom, who thought only of himself. But in the midst of this chaos and really sad affair, there are some great hearts that I want you to see. The predominant heart that is mentioned in this chapter is that of King David, a man after God's own heart. He had a holy heart, and we'll see the holy heart of David attuned to God shown throughout this chapter, and we'll try to pinpoint those for you. When my father was in the military, they used to say, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Well, I want to flip that around and say this: when the tough gets going, then the going are the ones that get tough. And we're going to find that it's not that you're tough and you push through. It's that God allows or permits problems, trials in our life to do one of two things: to judge or chasten us. This is exactly what's happening to David. Or to toughen, strengthen, to firm us up. And so as we look at this passage, it all comes down to whether you're being disciplined or whether you're being developed by God. It all will, whether it works or not, comes down to how does your heart receive it. Well, we pick it up in 2 Samuel 15 and verse 18. And all his servants passed on beside him, and all the Cherethites and all the Pelahites and all the Gittites, 600 men which came after him from Gath, passed on before the king. Now, we don't get a lot of background story to these men of Gath, but we know that David had gone over to the Philistines, to Gath and other places as he was running from Saul. And somewhere along the way, he met up with these 600 men whose heart were knit to David. But I think you'll see as the passage unfolds, even more so knit to the heart of David's God. They are going to come and they're going to protect David. Verse 19, then said the king to Ittai the Gittite. Now this obviously has to be the leader or formal spokesman. Ittai the Gittite. And there's some great names that are hard to pronounce in this chapter. Ittai the Gittite. Ittai means near. Why did those 600 men leave their country, abandon where they lived to come and be in Jerusalem? They wanted to be near the king. There is a place of quiet rest. We sing in that hymn, near to the heart of God. Boy, the best thing you can ever do in your life is just get as close to God as you can. This is what Ittai the Gittite, the 600 men, are doing as well. Ittai, I like to call the man with the helping heart. He was at one point an enemy of David, and now he is going to show himself to be a friend. You find out who your friends are when you don't have anything to offer. In fact, Ittai the Gittite is the direct opposite of Absalom. Absalom was the king's son. He had received favor. He had been given a special place and class, just not because he deserved it, but because of who he was. Well, Ittai the Gittite received nothing. He became a traitor to his nation. He became a foreigner to the nation of Israel that he was living in. He had nothing to gain, everything to lose, and that's how we know that Ittai the Gittite was a good friend of David's. And so we see what David says to Ittai the Gittite. The holy heart is not worried about self. Sometimes when problems happen, we get self-centered and self-focused, where it's woe is me and what is best for me, and someone comes to help and it's what can you do for me, and here's what I need. David, even when people came and were bending over backwards to say, we want to help you, David was saying, no, I want to do what's right by you. That's what he does with Ittai the Gittite and the 600 men. He says, wherefore goest thou also with us? Why are you guys coming with me? Return to thy place and abide with the king, for thou art a stranger and also an exile. David says, you don't need to suffer anymore. You're already a stranger. This would be the idea. You're not a citizen of Israel. You're a foreigner, and then you're an exile. That is, you've been declared a traitor, and you've been forsaken by your country of the Philistines. If you come after me, this could happen all over again, where now you'd be considered a traitor to the nation of Israel. And so David presses upon them to go back. Verse 20, whereas thou camest but yesterday, should I this day make thee go up and down with us? He says, you haven't even been in Israel. You haven't enjoyed Israel like other people, quote unquote, we could say Absalom has. You need to go back and see I go whither I may, return thou and take back thy brethren, and mercy and truth be with thee. David says, I'm not holding anything against you. May you have nothing but kindness and faithfulness and truth from God in your life. But the best thing for you to do would be to return. Well, verse 21, look at this response from Ittai. Ittai answered the king and said, as the Lord liveth, and as my lord the king liveth. So it's a double oath that Ittai brings. He swears upon not only the name of the King David, but also upon King Jesus, that the God of David. He said, as the Lord liveth. There's a lot of people that believe God is dead. This really leads us to believe that much like Ruth, Ittai the Gittite went with David, not just because he liked David, but also I think he fell in love with and had a relationship with David's God. And Ittai says this, as the Lord liveth, and as my Lord the King liveth, surely in what place my Lord the King shall be, whether in death or life, even there also will thy servant be. Again, I go to Warren Wiersbe. He says this Gentile's testimony of fidelity to David is one of the great confessions of faith and faithfulness found in Scripture, and it ranks right up there with Ruth and the Roman centurion in the New Testament. We find that this is a great statement of faith, that I'm going to follow you through life and through death. Will you follow God, your King, through life and through death? It's one thing to say it, it's another thing to do it. Ittai the Gittite did both. He had a helping heart for the Lord. And we go on, and David said to Ittai, go and pass over. And Ittai the Gittite passed over, and all this men and all the little ones that were with him. And all the country wept with a loud voice, and all the people passed over. The king also himself passed over the brook Kidron, and all the people passed over towards the way of the wilderness. This is on the east side of Jerusalem. It's in the bottom of a valley, and you have to go down and then you go back up. And this is in close proximity to where Jesus went just before he died on the cross. And we find that Kidron means dark. And it probably was named that because being in a valley, the sun couldn't get in there as well. Well, David is in a dark place in his life, and yet God understands this, and God is sending people to David to help him. David could work his way out. David could feel sorry for himself, or he could look to God and let God work. And that is what David does. The holy heart of David. He's not too ashamed to weep. What is he weeping for? Well, I think he's weeping for the nation. I think he's also weeping because a lot of this he recognizes was brought on by his own sinful behavior. And lo, Zadok also and the Levites which were with him, this would be the priests, bearing the ark of the covenant of God, they set down the ark of God, and Abiathar went up unto all the people, and had done passing out of the city. The king said unto Zadok, carry back the ark of God into the city. If I shall find favor in the eyes of the Lord, he'll bring me again, and show me both it and the habitation. But if he thus say, I have no delight in thee, behold, here I am. Let him do to me as seemeth good unto him. Whoa, 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 whoa. There are some great things here from the holy heart of David. The priests are coming with the Ark of the Covenant. Well, Israel's done this before. 1 Samuel. They lost a battle, and remember the sons of Eli went back, Hophni and Phinehas, and they carried the ark, and then they lost it. And I think David thinks back on his history and says, the ark of God needs to remain in the city of God, Jerusalem, and it ought not be something that we just carry around. And I do believe as well David is thinking about the priests. They need to be there for the people. The ark needs to be there to give the people confidence. But I believe as well, David wants people to see that it's not the golden boxed ark that's going to save David. It's going to be the Lord. David very well says this as he talks to Zadok, and he says, I will see it again. If I find favor in the eyes of the Lord, he'll bring me again. Not I will be because I deserve it. No, he said, if God will show me grace and mercy, I will come back and I will see it and I will see you. And if not, he says, I'm here. Lord, you can do with me whatever seemeth good. Wow. When was the last time you prayed that in the midst of troubles? That's a tough prayer to pray. To say, God, I'm in this mess. Would you work and fix it and have this happen? But if not, God, I know you are good and I will be happy either way. What a prayer from the holy heart of David. The king said also unto Zadok the priest, art not thou a seer or a prophet? Return into the city in peace, and your two sons with you, Ahimaaz thy son, and Jonathan the son of Abiathar. See, I will tarry in the plain of the wilderness until there come word from you to certify me. They therefore and Abiathar carried the ark of God again to Jerusalem, and they tarried there. So David says, return. And he says, not only will you help the people, but you can help me. The priests would have been above suspicion, and would have often been going around the country ministering to other people and doing their jobs. And so he says, you can take your two sons, Ahimaaz and Jonathan, and you can kind of report and let us know things that are happening in Jerusalem so that we can better prepare to face whatever is coming our way. You know, David is thinking spiritually, but he's also is causing him to think practically as well. Sometimes we think, well, if I've got a problem, I just need to pray and then go on about it and ignore. No, you need to pray about it. You need to surrender it to God. And then you need to take steps that you can take. You need to learn more information. You need to go to that person. You need to, whatever it is to resolve the situation, you need to be willing to do it. So I'm going to stop there. And I know we're going to stop just a couple of minutes earlier than normal, right at about 13 to 14 minutes. But we're going to get into a couple of names, a couple more hearts. We're going to see the hard heart of Ahithophel and the humble heart of Hushai. And I want to develop that a little bit more. Probably I'd have to do it too quickly. So we'll end there. But don't you just love 2 Samuel chapter 15? 16 is a great chapter. Really, you get into the Word of God, they're all great. But here we find a heart in the midst of problems. How is your heart? Do you have a haughty heart? Do you have a helping heart? And or do you have a holy heart? Hey, God bless you. I hope you'll return again, and we'll see the other hearts next time.